I've been reading some of your comments, and some of you have been asking what game I'm playing. Welcome to the Video Game Fights World channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I'm sure if you've been watching my videos, you've probably seen footage of this game. Now, you probably weren't aware that this is the game, but once I started playing it, I've seen some comments saying, dude, what game are you playing? And I tell them it's Gotham Knights. And they're like, what? I didn't know Gotham Knights looked so much fun in terms of seeing somebody else play it. Well, believe it or not, I actually had to go through this entire drag when it comes to telling people that the game was a fun game. Now, a fun game is subjective for everybody else. It's not going to be the same experience. Some people, will let their decision making be by by other people telling them how they perceive a game. Some people will try the game out for themselves. And this is one of those games that for some strange reason, it's weird that many people did not give this game a chance truly to understand the nature of the game that they were playing. Instead, there was just a lot of noise around the conversation, just talking about how the game was not Arkham and how the game was not this and the game did not look like that. And from somebody who's a big Arkham fan, by the way, huge Arkham City fan. I played Arkham Knight as well, and I've beaten that game 100%. I need to now go from 100% in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. I'm sure you guys heard me, right? Arkham Asylum, I finally beat that game after so many years, and also do so for Arkham Origins. I can tell you that those games are unique in their own way. Those games are, solid. There's nothing, stopping anybody to enjoy a game like that. And I think what really got a lot of players was, they didn't see the Spider-Man-y, Arkham-y, presentation in terms of like the world and the effects and all of that. And they just judged the game super unfairly. But the reality is the game is now basically bottom bin. Anybody who wants to try a game like it can go ahead and do so. However, you got to keep in mind the game is still running at 30 FPS on console. However, on PC, the 60 FPS mode actually guarantees you what I think is just a little bit in terms of, superior gameplay. I played the 30 FPS mode. I remember playing it when it first launched on Xbox. That was the very first copy I could play using the New Zealand mode. And that was actually a lot of fun still. So even at 30 FPS, you can enjoy the game. But I want to give you a caveat. The game's combat is not as easy as, say, Spider-Man or the Arkham games. They designed the combat with a high skill gap. They did not design a crappy combat system in any way. I'm not saying that the Arkham games or Spider-Man games are crappy. I'm just saying that the combat system has a skill gap that threw off a lot of YouTubers and a lot of these. See, this game exposed a lot of them because I remember figuring out how the game was meant to be played and the different characters. They all play very differently. Like, you'll be very surprised to see a character pretty much play the same way in this game. All four of them, Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood, they play like they're all different video games. I feel like they should just taken each one of them and made a video game series out of it and, just basically make the other characters DLC before the new game comes out. And so the combat does require you to play like you're playing a fighting game. But if you learn it, you will definitely enjoy the game. There's no one who I've seen that learned the combat of this game that did not enjoy it. And keep in mind, I got almost 500 hours in the game, and I can tell you that the combat is addictive once you learn it. And I did an experiment. Every time anybody would tell me that the game was bad or the game sucked, I asked them genuine questions like, hey, so what do you know about the combat? How did you engage in the combat? Do you have any footage of your gameplay and your combat? And I realized that most of them did not dial into the combat. They didn't take enough time to do so. Not blaming anybody. Some people don't want to deal with that curve. Some people, they feel they don't have the time. But believe it or not, as much as the gaming scene could be so loud, this game was a solid game. It was better than Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is a shooter, but believe it or not, the team at Warner Brothers Montreal, they did a very good job. They had what I think, it took to be able to deliver a game like this. And it really did, resonate with me and some of the, big, huge Batman fans. Now, you got to keep in mind that this game is one of those games as well that the story and the canon is different from what you see in the Batman universe in terms of, how they relate the story, how Batman, is in the picture and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, when you actually take the game for what it is, you'll realize that they put in a lot of work in this game. And, corporate, nonsense. They probably wanted a multiplayer that they could continue to monetize, but the development team probably just realized, man, the way we're going to build this multiplayer is probably not going to work and be feasible for the machines that we have, like the PS4 and the PS5 and such. And I think if they had launched the game as a single player only game and brought it out even on the PS4, I strongly believe that it would have really done well. I think if it was just an exclusive single player game, they would have had the time to be able to polish up a lot. They probably would have been able to change the presentation of the world to not just be a nighttime world and give, something that is a little bit more meaty at the end of the day. But if you want to watch my coverage on Gotham Knights, if you want to see my videos, if you want to see tutorials and stuff, I think I got like a few hundred videos on this game. I have a whole playlist that's dedicated to it. I have a whole playlist where I'm literally pointing out how reviewers deceived people and basically lied about the combat because they just didn't know. They were unaware and ignorant about the systems of the game, and so everything that many of them were saying about the combat were just pure lies. Any review that you could find that did not lie in that sense, ignore the combat. I mean, I literally analyzed like the big reviewers, and I was very surprised and shocked with how they basically misled people. But this is it. It's a game that I play a lot of. I still played a little bit last night. And, I think it's probably one of the sleeper superhero games that's going to eventually be looked upon later, and people are going to be like, oh, we judged this game too harshly. You know how it goes. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.